Hello, good evening, it's Sunday night again. Good evening everyone, I hope you are all safe and well. To all 17 of you who are joining me, please someone say it's all working. And yes, you got the timing exactly correct. I was watching the chat as it went down. So good evening everyone, hope you are good. Cool, what a week it's been. What a week it has been. Just one of those really strange but really interesting weeks as well. It really has been. So tonight, guys, we're going to talk some stuff as always. Now, there's a couple of little things to talk about, and I want to try and just get your thoughts on some stuff as well. I'm going to take a show you guys how far we're getting along with the FPV Build, which is the DJI equivalent one, and there will be a video coming on that in a minute too. Oh, you can see the 8M. It looks good, doesn't it? It's the LED effect. It doesn't actually flash in real life. If for those of you who don't have one, it's static, but because of the flickering effect on the LEDs to the shutter speed, it looks like it's flickering and everything as well. So tonight we're going to talk a bit, very quickly, just a bit about this goggles thing. I've covered that in a video anyway, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. I just want to explain one or two things. We're going to talk a little bit about this new camera from Cadex, because it's a weird one, frankly, and I did mention that in the update the other day. There is a new camera coming for SharkByte, which is good news, and we'll talk a bit about whatever else and answer just some questions, guys, that you have as we go along. I've kept it quite light today. Now, I've been out flying today. I've been out flying every day for the last week, in fact. I've done more flying this week than I did the whole of winter. Just trying to get back in the game a little bit is probably the right term to use. Having had quite a long lockdown and winter here, let's just say I'm not at the level I probably should be at, or have been at, to say the least. And a lot of the time I'm flying these days, I'm doing it for a reason, not for me. If you get what I mean on that, like, you know, flying to get footage for a camera review or something like that. So it's been nice the last 2 days to be able to just fly for me, for no other reason at all. So we've been doing that. So catching up on the chat. Good evening, Rob. I'm going to just start at the top, and as always, guys, I'm here for you. So if you have any questions, please do put them in the chat, put them in the comments, and we will try and answer them. Good evening, Rob. Good evening, Failsafe. Robino78. Good evening, Bruce. Good evening, Ghost FPV type. Hello, my friend. Let me go down. Red Knight 19. Good evening, Hail Mahar. On the verge of giving up the fat shark, so interested to hear what you have to say. Good evening, Simon. And good evening, Robert. Good evening, everyone who is here. So, really, the first thing to very quickly talk about, and I'll just put it up on the desktop, and that is that update for the FPV. I have put a video out on it, so I'm not going to touch onto it in too much detail. The only thing I am going to say on this is the new firmware came out, which updated the goggles, which was restarting automatically. And that's really the only thing they say in the firmware, version 01.02.0001. Now, I just really want to thank you guys for reaching out to me and just providing me the info that I was able to pass on to DJI. A lot of very kind words have been said on this about me and stuff like that, and look, it wouldn't have been possible without you guys or DJI willing to work with us on it as well, so it's good. I have seen a couple of people ask, though, you know, should I upgrade to this firmware or not, or what firmware should I be on? Now, today is a really interesting position for FPV goggle version 2 owners, because now we have the best of all worlds. So we had the original 0606 firmware across the board. That is 0606 on the goggles and 0606 on the goggles FPV drone side and air unit side. The same type across both sides. We had no issues with that. Apart from the major issue that if it rebooted into the wrong mode, you couldn't switch back. Now, that was when I originally kicked off and made that original video, and DJI then released version 1.20, which fixed that rebooting issue, left the FPV side in 0606, but gave us the new rebooting issue of it getting stuck. And now we have 020001. Now, the nice position we can have now is, and I can see me having to adjust stream elements in a minute, is that we now have the best of all options. We know 0606 was a great place to be, but it had the problem of if the battery went low and it rebooted, it might boot into the wrong mode. My personal opinion today on the V2s is either go on the new firmware or go back to 0606, because at least we know the 0606 firmware does have a known issue, which is it can, on a low battery, reboot into the wrong mode and not be able to switch back. However, there is now firmware to fix that, so you can get out of jail. My kickoff with that when it originally released is we didn't have a fix. Now, it does look like this new firmware fixes the problem. As far as I'm aware, it should solve it. So this 02.0001 should be a complete stable place to be. But if you don't want to risk it a minute and you're not sure, go back to 0606 across the board, let everybody else play with it, and at least if you do get that random issue where it reboots into the wrong mode, the worst case scenario is you'll have to update. And that's the basic scenario, so we got here. So today we have some real good options on the V2. I am hoping that we end up now in a solid position with this. One of my comments to feedback was, if you do, hopefully this puts the V2s in a stable position now. So we do, you know, we're in a position where 0606 has a known issue, but there's a way out of that issue. 0200 has a real bad issue. We don't want that one either. 02001 we think fixes them all, but it's still early days. So that's the basic scenario. But when 0606 was out, there was no fix for that reboot issue, whereas at least now you can fix it by upgrading, if that makes sense. Bit complicated, I know, but at least you have multiple options. The hope is the 01.02.0001 fixes them all, going to be solid, but it's still early days. This has only been out a week, and I'm a bit more cautious this point, because last time we thought everything was fine, and it took like a month for the issues to really come to light. So I'm being a bit more cautious on this one. So I hope that explains everything on that. Just catching up on the chat. The goggles update, no, just for the V2s, Rob. V1s are solid, no changes, everything should be as it is. Good evening, Catman FPV. Good evening, Furious Pugs. Is it Pugs? Great name. Brandon, you were mentioning that the Vista users are best to roll down. Pre-one for doing his support login for that. There's no reason to roll back on the air units a minute. We don't really know what's going on. Rob Miller, thank you for the super chat, mate. Massively, massively appreciated. Thank you for that. Ghost FPV, I was literally typing the questionnaire. V2 goggles and launch firmware, not had any issues. Wondering what right. If you're just V2s without the DJI FPV drone and you're on early firmware, don't change. There's no reason to update. The updates for the V2s really go hand in hand with the FPV drone, because there was a pre-release firmware for the V2 goggles that was only having FPV mode. That was fine. There was no known issues with that one. It only started getting downhill when they introduced the FPV drone, and I did actually put a post on RC groups when they started to say don't update unless you have to. I'm going to definitely wind Stream Elements neck in. Ghost FPV, sorry, Martin. I sent you a DM regarding DJI. Obviously, you're not playing nice with his thoughts. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. FPV and air unit, but never had any problems with the V2 goggles. Yeah, these things don't always affect everyone, Rob. The way these often, and one of the more confusing things with DJI has often been the same software behaving differently on the same hardware, and that just happens, and it's always been the case. This is nothing new. We've seen this with Phantoms, we've seen this with Mavics, we've seen it with Inspires. Identical hardware with identical software behaving differently. there are fundamental little differences between them that we still don't fully understand. Good evening, BB Junkie. Hope you are safe and well. I have the FPV switch for normal drones. Good evening, Peppermint Pilot. You could be just lucky. If you've never had an issue, never had an issue. What I would say, though, is if you do have the FPV drone, I'd probably go up to this new firmware. I think if you use the stock individual, yeah, it's more unlikely with the stock battery ink. It is possible still, in the sense of if your barrel connector came loose or the connector didn't come loose, it could cause the same thing, but it is more unlikely in that scenario. The more common scenario in 0606 to trigger it into the wrong mode would be using a standard lipo. That would be the more common. I'm not saying it isn't possible, though, with the DJI battery, but it is much less likely. But at least, if we went into that 0606 firmware, we know it has a bug, which can result in it switching into drone mode and not being switched back. At worst case today, that means you wouldn't be able to fly on that trip. You'd have to go home and reinstall the firmware. That's the worst case scenario now with that firmware. Whereas before we made the kickoff and you guys supported me in doing that, we had no getting out of jail. You had to have the FPV drone. So worst case scenarios, you lose a flying trip now. Whereas before, you couldn't fly at all. If that makes sense. And that's why I have still been saying to people, actually now I'm recommending you can use 0606 because of that. So that's the situation. It's out, it's available. If anyone gets any issues with this firmware, please do let me know. I would love to hear any feedback on it. Put it in my videos, a comment on it, and I will pass it on if I can. Now, I do have a list of things I'm sending over to DJI this week. They've not asked for this list. I'm simply going to put it into their hands. This is a list that I've compiled from the feedback from you guys of wants and wishes. For instance, canvas mode, the switching of the air units, having to rebind. Now, I have spoke to them about that before, and I was told that might not be fixable. But what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to put a list of common issues into their hands. And I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to make any promises to anyone. I'm not going to bug them about it. I'm not going to harass them about it. I'm going to give them this list. And I've spoken to Blunty as well and a couple of others in the background. And they've given me everything they think. And I'm going to put it in their hands and sort of go, guys, look, this is the situation that community would really love to see. And that's all I'm going to do. And I'm not going to mention it again. I'm not going to be banging on their door about it. You know, what I don't want to be doing is crying wolf all of the time when we do have problems. So that's what we're going to do. So I've made the list up. And when I've done it, I will share the list with you guys so you've seen what I've put in as well. So, catch up at the chat. With hindsight, given the option, would you still buy the FPV drone? No. Frankly, no. Having owned it, I wouldn't even really recommend it at this time. It's there. I haven't flown it for 3 weeks. I've flown it. Actually, that's not right. I flew the new firmware. I've been flying standard FPV since. I think it's got too many drawbacks for me still to really think it's a long worth. My same issue today stands the same thing I said the day I flew it for the first time, which was it's really easy to fly. I love the extra features. You're going to grow out of it in a couple of days. If you bought it and flew it a lot, you're going to grow out of it in a couple of weeks, maybe even a month at worst case. and you're going to want to take more and more risks, and then you're going to rip the arm off and destroy it. And that's where my problem is. You know, I dropped my FPV quad from about 15 foot today because my camera came loose in flight. And I've been swapping cameras back and forth on it, and for some reason the camera just worked loose. And it was all over the place. So I just didn't know where I was coming down. So I literally I knew I was roughly where I needed to be, and it dropped about 15 foot onto the beach, onto stone. And I didn't even really mark a prop. Yet, if I'd have done that with the DJI FPV drone, I'd have ripped an arm off it. And that is the problem with it, in my opinion. I love the safety features on the DJI drone. I really love the fact that you have that quick stop button that chucks you back into GPS mode, especially for new users. It doesn't fly particularly great, but it's okay. I like the safety features, but I still think there are too many downsides to the product. Too many downsides based on the price. Please add a mode that adds flying better. Do you have GPS or do I have the GPS misreporting or missing 0 numeral? No, I need to add that one. No, I will add that one. We need cleaner warning element. Yeah, well, canvas mode would solve a lot of these problems, wouldn't it? Rob Miller, you know, you're not a big fan of the Acon prop mounts this week. How'd you get some? Yeah, I have ordered them. I still haven't arrived. I need to chase them, actually. I'm not a big fan of swapping props on the DJI drone, but I still do want to try it. Do you think if we start an online petition? I'm not convinced, if I'm honest. I'm not convinced. The DJI used to follow a lot of RC groups posts. They used to do a lot of stuff like that. I'm not convinced any form of petition will change anything. A lot of what I'm putting in their hands, they have been told 5 or 6 times before at minimum. They've been told these by me personally more than once. So there's nothing new here. DJI is a political beast at the best of times, and understanding how they operate is a complex thing. For all intents and purposes, and this is still my opinion, the FPV system is not really of interest to them anymore. Yes, they've had to fix the V2 goggles a couple of times, but that is a very current product. I just don't think there's a massive amount of interest there. Now, we will see about this when I talk about the next thing in a minute as well, because it leads us nicely into something else. You don't destroy it, you get plastic damage. I enjoyed my time with FPV. I can't afford those batteries. And that is the problem, Brandon Beans. You know, £140 a pack. You can get 6 packs in the UK for that. I need to really change stream elements, big style. Oh, yeah, that day I was flying. Yeah, I fly around a lot of water. There was one time when I was coming in and I just didn't know where I was. I was like, this might hit water. I do like a bit of space around me. Landing. Oh, right. Let's change stream elements. 2 seconds. That's getting out of control. Okay. Let me just log in. Sorry about this, guys, because that is ridiculous. Module. Sorry, I'm just gonna that one, and that one. There we go. I've turned it off a minute. Hopefully, it'll go away now. Real nice case. Yeah, that water, it was dodgy ground. It really was dodgy ground. I fly a lot of places like that. I broke 3. Yeah, and that's the problem. You just got to rebuild. I would consider buying a new Mavic if the GOG support. Yeah, there's no logic in no support for the other stuff. Really is a massive shame. Price of the original props is a mute point. If you're breaking props, you're breaking a lot of other stuff. Now, Brutus, that is a really good point. Prop prices is the least of your problems, but they do fly better. Now, I know Ken said it's night and day. Original Dobo, if you haven't seen, who had a fire, a lipo fire a couple of days ago. If you follow Ken, you'd have seen the pictures. Bloody scary. And I'll talk about that in a minute as well. Hello at DJI FPV, Mario. Do I get it right that the new software on the FPV drone side of the V2 goggles but solves the issue? Yes, that is correct. So you have to put in FPV drone mode to get the firmware, but it solves the problem in air unit mode of it rebooting. If you want to... Yeah, 2 batteries. That's the problem. You know, I bought the other day 6 of those CNHL packs, and it was nothing. It was absolutely nothing. It was scary. It was scary. I'm just gonna grab a towel, guys. It is so hot in here today. It's ridiculous. That's why I've got cold drinks with me. Thanks, Mario. I really appreciate that. So that's the score. If there's any more questions on that, guys, as we go through. Okay, so talking about cameras. Now, there's a bit to talk about here. Let me just move my mic a little bit and put this up. Now, first of all, there is going to be a new... You can't really see this very well. But let me put that big. Carl from DiviMath has said there's a new micro camera for SharkByte 1 HT0 coming. Not a lot of other info other than this, but there is a new camera on the horizon, and it's under test with beta testers. Now, there should be some more information coming soon. So, yes, it's not a lot of info, but there is one in the works. There is more to come from SharkByte. I'm not sure how good it's going to be, what the image quality is like. It does say a new micro camera, but I don't know who it's made by either, but there is something coming. So, for SharkByte users, it is good. It is good to see. We're going to have to wait and see how it performs. We're going to have to wait and see how long is it going to even be available, because at the moment, with any of these cameras, you just can't get them, you know, and that's the big issue. But there is a new camera on the horizon, which should make people a little bit happy. Okay, cool. Just want to say hello to the 57 of you watching tonight. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Just checking through the chat. Any Hydropilot Healing news? Sorry, mate, not at the moment. Nothing at the moment, really at all. I'm building up the new Hex Soon frame. The review on that will be coming in the next week or so. It is there built up. You'll see a video coming from that in the next week or so. But other than that, there's not really a lot of news going on. Here Pro is available soon, but that's it. If you give it some time and practice a few months, you get very smooth flying in manual. I just don't support smoke. Yeah. The FPV drone is a nice piece of kit, but I just don't think the cost outweighs the benefit. And I'm not saying it's that expensive, because when you add it all up, and you know, the cost of a good FPV quad isn't cheap. They do cost a lot of money. And what's up with no DJI Fly Up on the Android App Store anymore? Support that is relating to the US ban on companies working with them. That is what that is. That still relates to the US government ban of companies selling to or supplying DJI, including Google. Unfortunately, that's to do with the US. I don't think the ban's been lifted. I haven't seen it change. Okay, so That's the DiviMath news. Then this week, as I mentioned in the video, we've got this new camera from Caddx called the Polar Starlight Digital HD FPV camera. The camera no one asked for, but they're going to give it to you anyway. Now, this is a new camera for the digital FPV system, which has a larger sensor, 1/1/8 of an inch, 720p, 30 milliseconds low latency, 60 frames a second, up to 50 megabits a second for the HD mode. The camera that you all didn't need or didn't ask for is now going to be available and is going to be shipping in the next couple of weeks. Now, I have ordered one of these myself. I've ordered this with the Caddx Vista. Now, JB's got a video on it, as has Albert Kim, the guys who were sent one in advance. Looks okay. I think it's all right. I don't think there's anything particularly special about it. The fact it's even available is a starting point for this. And I've got my video is coming on this Runcam, this thing probably middle of the week. And the first thing I say about this, and we'll take a look at this a bit in a minute as well, is that it's available. You can buy it. And that's the same thing with that camera there. Now, this is going to be the first camera that is encrypted. And they say encrypted version compatible with the upgrade version of Vista. Now, we don't know what the ins and outs of this is at the moment. We really don't fully understand what this encryption is all about, what's going to be happening. I do know some things as follows, and that is that Caddx have been saying to people that the DJI camera, the Caddx micro camera, which is the new one to replace the DJI, the Nebula Pro, and this camera will be compatible with the new encrypted air units. The other ones will not, including that. Now, what we don't know is how much work or what is going to change on this encryption. Is it relating to that SoC that's on the back? We don't know anything for sure. Now, the interesting thing is they're saying that this is an encrypted camera, but they're also shipping it with air units. And I've actually ordered this with a Caddx Vista. Now, and it's shipped, it's on its route, it's actually left them already. Now, I don't believe this Vista is the new encrypted one. It's a bit of a play on words here. And this is that encrypted compatible with upgrade version of Vista, but this isn't, as far as I'm aware, the upgraded Vista. They do also say, when you go on to the DJI one, that compatible with the upgraded air unit. So there's looking like there's going to be an upgrade air unit and Vista. The current understanding is the original DJI camera, the Micro, the Pro, and the Pro V1, and this Starlight camera is going to work. The Nebula Nano, the Nebula Micro, and the Runcam will not. We don't know when these new air units are coming. We don't know if it's a DJI change. Is it a Caddx change? There's a lot of unknowns here, because the thing to remember is Caddx don't make any of these air units. DJI basically do. The air unit that you get from Caddx with this kit here. So here's the Micro. Give me a second. Let's just have a look. So if we go to Digital HD, this one here. So this air unit Micro kit, right? That air unit is the DJI air unit. I have it here. It's made by DJI. There's nothing to do with Caddx on it. Caddx only makes the camera. The Vista, as I understand it, is also manufactured by DJI and supplied to Caddx. So if there's going to be a hardware change here, DJI have to do it. It's that simple. So it's going to be interesting to see, do DJI put any dev time in here to make this change? Or is this going to be Caddx sort of bolting something on, or a firmware change? We don't really know what the difference is. What is also going to be interesting is the kickback, frankly, on this, which is if DJI rework the air unit, or Caddx rework the air unit for this encryption, and nothing else changes, they've basically done all of this work just to stop Runcam selling a $50 camera. They've not fixed issues like the binding issue. They've not fixed issues like the slow SD card issue and stuff like that. So it is going to be really interesting to see where this ends up. Now, I'm not convinced this is going to be anything more than a firmware tweak. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. If it is a proper hardware change, I hope they add something else into the mix as well, and not just make a change to lock out RunCam, because it makes no sense. It literally makes no sense to block this camera out from working if all of the other cameras are available. So we're never going to see the DJI camera again. So let me just put my thing up, because this is a good time to put my list up that I've made. Let me just turn off the camera, my camera. There you go. So what we've got here is the current list, and I've shared this, and this is one I've made available. I'll put a link to this in the chat in a minute as well. We've got the original DJI camera, which is no longer available. Okay. We've got the new replacement for that, which is available, but it's out of stock. We've got the Nebula Pro, which isn't available. The rumors are there's going to be a newer version because they can't make the current one. These two were a heap of crap. This is the new Polar Starlight that no one asked for. And then we've got the RunCam. Now, let's be realistic here. No one is going to buy this if these two are available. So all Caddx have to do to solve this problem is just make sure you can buy these two cameras. It's that simple. Now, that isn't to say RunCam won't make other cameras that are better than these, but at the end of the day, this camera does not have the main functionality. It doesn't have 4x3 mode. It doesn't have low latency mode. It doesn't have the option to control it. So it will never have those options anyway. So I really don't understand why they're putting in so much effort into that here. Now, this is the new chart that I've created showing you all of the DJI cameras. I will put a link to this, and it just puts it in a nice, easy chart so everyone can see. This is going to be used in an upcoming video as well, but I'll be updating this one as I go along. There is also a link to it as a Google Sheets, and I'm also starting the same for SharkByte as well on this one, just to show you guys too. So that's the situation. So the understanding is current air units will work with all cameras. All cameras, regardless if they're encrypted or not, even the future cameras, current air units should work with fine. The issue will be future air units will only work with encrypted cameras. So the issue will be is if you damage an air unit and you buy a new air unit in the future, you might have to buy a camera as well. Just checking up on the chat to see what's said. Just waiting for the stupid rain to stop so I can start ripping. Cool, Bobby Bags. Very nice. Everyone hates Polar. No idea. Right, let me just get to the top. Sideload only. Never thought about fact. Discord. The daytime waiver camera. Yes, it is the daytime waiver camera. I had no idea I needed this camera of life, but I can't wait. Yeah, and that's the best product name of all. We want full frame. We do want full frame. I thought nothing of it. Stupid. Need OcuSync 3 camera on my 5-inch. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Upgraded. Protecting ourselves against the compatible products. It's FR Sky all over again. It is and it is. You know, look, DJI was always a proprietary system, so I'm not surprised that I'm more surprised the cameras weren't encrypted to start with. That's what I'm more surprised at. The fact that SharkByte was encrypted, but DJI wasn't. Really weird. You cannot buy a cheaper edition and connect it to the DJI. So one camera and two price levels. So DJI security is coming. Unencrypted Vista will allow cameras. Hardware implementation because they said, yeah, I agree on that in FPV. It does sound like hardware, but then it sounds like, well, hold on a minute. You've gone to all of this effort to replace this on the air units, yet you haven't done this, that, or that. So these new air units better come with more features. Let's be realistic on that. Caddx leaves in a monopoly. Yeah, I do understand Caddx's problem here. Caddx obviously have a license that they're paying to DJI to be able to use this. It does feel to me like the current FPV system has sort of been passed over to Cadex to deal with as a marketing point of view, and DJI just make the goggles and they don't really want to get involved in anything else other than maybe that. So it's going to be interesting to see how much changes are made, because it could mean that DJI have to get involved, and how far they will go with that. Could we see all new ear units with dual band? Who knows? You know, the existing ear unit was capable of dual band if it had the hardware. It's just they left the hardware off. But we're going to have to see, you know, are they going to redesign? Are they going to change things? It's a lot of unknowns right now. Better make it better. And that's the thing, Brandon. Exactly. Making the effort to fight support hardware, even though they are low draw just because of chain limitations coming. Do you think DJI will ever add Betaflight OSD support and audio? I'm not convinced. I'm asking for it, but I'm not convinced. I'm surprised to make just enough changes. Consumers have to spend more. Anyone surprised? Ghost FPV? No, not at that side of it. To be perfectly honest, it is their mod. They've been here before. Orca FPV? Yeah, there's still talk of that, isn't there? No one knows. No one knows what these new ear units are. All we know is it's really interesting. As I've said, they can solve this problem by simply making the cameras they make available and not worrying about RunCam. Because I just don't see people running out to buy RunCam if Cadex make good cameras. You know, let's be realistic here. These two were a complete waste of time, complete waste of sand. They should never have been made. The silicon should never have been made for these two cameras. Complete waste of time. Great camera, absolutely fantastic camera, just not perfect. This is a good camera. This, and again, this is allegedly a Nebula Pro in that housing with different firmware. That's the belief, is this is a Nebula Pro with different firmware. That's what the belief is. So, you know, all they've got to do is make these available and the problem goes away. That, you know, it's that simple. What do you think of the chart, guys, as well? Tell me what your thoughts are on the chart. What do you think? Just put it back up. Yeah, it is quite green, yeah. But it's a good image quality. Chip shortage may come into this. You know, chip shortage may be playing a part in all of this, but who knows, you know. And as I said on the chart, guys, there's going to be a downloaded JPEG version, which I've got. I've shared it on the community section of the channel already. But I'll also put the link to this one as well as a view only, and then we'll build up the SharkByte ones as they come along. And then I'll keep adding cameras as they come along, just so we know what the difference is here with this. It's as simple as that. Man, it is getting hot in you now. Let me just grab the towel. It really is. I think they're experimenting with the Prola. They don't have the chip to make it full feature. No, possibly. And it might be that we might have to see something else developed. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad camera, but I'm just not convinced everyone was asking for it. I'm interested to try it, though, when it comes. I am interested to try it when it comes. So, that's that on that one. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the reviews on the RunCam Mippy. We do have it here. It's a decent camera. I did put the video up. I got the video coming up on this week. It's okay. If you're interested in having a spare camera, I would consider buying one of these. You know, let me just go to the overhead. It's not the greatest camera in the world. It's not the worst. It's better than the Nebula Micro and the Nebula Nano, but it's not as good as the Nebula Pro. But it's available. It's a 19x19. The color isn't great on it, and it's got really good latency, though. The latency is really low on it. But if you're after a spare camera for your DJI system, it could just be worth having one of these on the shelf right now, just in case you break a camera, because you just can't get one of the other ones. The video for this will be coming up on the channel in the next couple of days. So if you are interested in my one, please do check it out. There's a bit of flying in it, nothing spectacular. But yeah, coming very, very soon. It's really wide field of view on it as well. I had to move it in the frame. It was too wide, actually, when I was using it. Okay. Right. That is predominantly what I've put down to talk about tonight, other than the new frame, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. Which is the DJI FPV Build, and I'm just going to show you where I'm at with it. And really, now I'm just going to open it up to answer any questions you guys may have, anything you'd like me to answer, anything you'd like to know. Although I have been answering questions as we go along, I'm going to open this next bit after I do this entirely to you guys. Now, this is the FPV build that I'm working on at the moment, and this is going to be my sort of DJI equivalent build for FPV. Now, the frame we're using here is a Diatone F5, which is the Roma. It's got obviously a 41 ESC. We're using the F7 Mini 2 from Hollybro, and the reason I'm using that autopilot is it's compatible with Hdfpv and Betaflight, and I want to try it with Hdfpv first. Now, I have had to do a bit of customization, and I've come up against a bit of a problem at the moment, and the first one is that the cable for the air unit is just too short. As you can see, I've got the DJI camera on there at the moment, and I've had to take the back off this one to try and get it in, because it's just too short. So I'm going to order some longer ones today now. Tonight's job is to order some longer cables for the DJI because it's a bit short. We've then got a new custom printed. I ended up having to 3D print a new back piece for the GPS. Now, this is a proper GPS and compass, not just a GPS. And I ended up having to make this 3D printed back piece for it. Haven't done the tilting gimbal yet. That's to come. As you can see, it's got my name on the bottom because I designed and 3D printed that. Now, it's not made of TPU. It's actually made of PETG because I've run out of TPU. But then we've obviously got the DJI air unit, and we're going for a full-size air unit in this one. So, yeah, that's where we've got to with it so far. Now, this is also going to be my test quad for DJI cameras. Because it's got this nice big area here, it's a lot easier to do changes compared to my other quad. So this one is going to become my test bed moving forward for cameras, because it's just a complete pain in the ass changing cameras on these things. With the MIPI connection, it really is a pain in the bum. It really is. So that's the idea of that. No, there's no motors on there yet, Bruce. I haven't got that far. That's one of the next jobs. But the build is coming along. I do like this frame, the Roma. It really is a really nice frame. It's a nice bit of kit. I am impressed with it. We've got it on a 20x20. Everything is hooked up. It's got plenty of space in it as well, especially for the DJI side of things. So, yeah, decent frame. Looking forward to getting this one in the air, to be honest. So, yeah, it is getting there. It is getting there. Just get that cable on it, because that's just too tight at the moment. It's a guitar string at the moment, if I'm honest. And once that's changed, we can then get the rest of the build done. Now, there will be a video coming on this in the next couple of weeks. It will be. Why did that was a bit harsh, wasn't it? Look at that. Sorry, distracted myself. That's a bit interesting. There's the fade gone then on that. That's interesting. Oh, there we go. I found it. Wrong one. That's better. My fade stopped working. What am I thinking with for the gimbal? Probably a very small servo. do need to do some changes here because this is stock at the moment. So if I do put it back up, my thought is a very small servo. Down here, there's space for it, and that's one of the reasons I chose this frame. And then have it on a single screw with an arm. Probably 3D print these and just have it so we can adjust the position then. It's not the tidiest build in the world, but it is getting there. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I've tried to keep it as tidy as I can so far. Anyway, we're getting there. I have a flight controller that has a direct connection to the air unit. What harm will do if I want to run crossfire? So you'll need to disconnect the DJI element. Let me just get my towel again. It's because I got the door closed on the workshop. So I've got a flight controller that has connected direct connection to the air unit. What harm will the DJI radio control part connectors do if I rather... So what you simply need to do is disconnect the S-bus wire on whichever side. You can either take it out the connector going back into the air unit side, or you can take it out of the board side connector. So you just take it out and replace it. If it's a Cadex Vista, it's easier because it's soldered. So you just unsolder it from the Vista side and use that wire for your air unit. If you're using a different input port, if your autopilot allows for a different input, then leaving it connected shouldn't do any harm. But personally, I would rather disconnect it just in case. Brutus thinking, I want to replicate it. I really do miss, Brutus, the adjustable camera on the DJI FPV drone. I don't know, and I've been thinking about this today, right? This has been in my head today. Why don't FPV drone cameras have a larger sensor that you can switch modes with an input, that you can see a wider image? So increase the sensor size a bit and allow us to see more of the image, more of a fisheye or something like that. There needs to be something to do this better, because we will want more angle. And that's what I love about the DJI drone. One of the nice features is you can adjust the position of the camera. It's a little thing, but it is really, really good. It's just really, really nice. And for me, it's just about landing, because I can run a much bigger angle when flying. That means I can get more speed. You know, it's just nice. Yeah, as Enquiries, disabling the RX on that port and using a different one should be okay. I think I would personally be tempted to snip the wire just in case, because remember, the air unit is still going to output a S-bus fail-safe flag. I'd be tempted to just snip it. I really would. 4x3, 16x9. Yeah, I'm just trying to I want more. Do you know what I mean? It'd be really nice to be able to just open it up for landing, just so you can see everything around you. I know landing isn't really a term in FPV, and funny enough, that's one thing I want to up my game a bit more on, is landing. I was watching Bot Grinder's video earlier. On landing next to his feet, and he was making me laugh. And today I just realized I really need to up my landing game after some of the landings I've done today. I really need to up my landing game. As I said, the flight I did with the camera was loose. I literally just took it out of the sky. It was like 10 foot up. Okay, I'm going to go flying. Rain stop. Wish you luck. Stay safe, Bobby Bags. Hope you're safe. Make a video for the gimbal. Yeah, that is what I'm going to make. It's going to be a small servo. And I've got that's one bit I haven't fully come up with in my head yet. It also has to be strong enough that it doesn't have to introduce I have a landing switch. It's called disarm. Well, that's what I did at about 10, 15 foot today, Bruce. I've been flying a lot around water the last couple of days, and I've only had a few feet in front of me to get it down, which is never fun. Let's just say that. And where I was flying yesterday, where I filmed the other video, the tide was coming in, and I'd flown 3 packs and realised I couldn't keep flying, or I would have nowhere to land. And I didn't fancy hand catching an FPV quad wearing goggles. Okay, guys, if you've got any questions, please do put them in the comments. You will break the... Yeah, I do need to get some TPU. PETG's pretty solid. Mind, it is solid. You know, just to show it, you know, it's on the back there. But I probably will break it. But yeah, not bad. At Lee Kitchen, as Lee said, as Lee Kitchen. Cheers, buddy. Yeah, I would solid but brittle. Yes, that's the problem. TPU to the rescue. Yeah, I do need to order some proof. There was a real shortage of filaments. I have a Prusa, so I only use Prusa filaments these days, and be honest with you, because it works. Let's just have a quick look, shall we? Prusament. I literally only use Prusa filament on my printer now, because it just works, and the cost difference is minimal overall when you're talking about it compared to the cost of everything else. It's not major. So what have they got? So they got their carbon fiber. Oh, I'd love that. That's awesome. That is awesome. But we have no, I've had a lot of filaments over the years, and I've had a lot of problems. ASA. Is it ASA? What's their PV? Oh God, what's this? Oh, I didn't click downloads. What's going on, Prusa? I shove everything through it. The reason I've sort of just stuck to Prusa filament is it just works. It just absolutely works. You just don't worry about it. The carbon fiber infused filament is very hard. Yeah, it'll rip through it in no time at all. Some of the wear you see on nozzles is incredible. Let me just turn my camera back on. There you go. You guys can see me now. Oh my God. I'm just going to grab my second drink. And a bit of biscuit. FPV System is top notch. SainSmart also make a killer TPU. Do they? Okay. Yeah, this is the problem. When I first got my Prusa, I bought a bunch of filament with it, and you know, I've had about 4 3D printers into a couple of 3D printers now. I had a really cheap one, and the one thing I love about the Prusa is it just works. And if you put Prusament through it, it just works. It just does what it's meant to do. And that's the nicest bit about it. You just don't have to worry about the kind of filament you're using. Right, so let's have a look. I'm just looking. Do Prusament make TPU? I don't actually know. SainSmart TPU. Okay, let's check that stuff out. Who makes that in the UK? Because that sounds... the quad on the table, M10 HD is the Diatone Roma F5 DJI. Just to show you it overhead. There you go, my friend. It's in build at the moment. We're getting through it with a custom back end piece. I have a Prusa clone and it spits out just about anything I put through it. Only thing I have problems is the picture making the stick. Yeah. Is the best review. Okay, everyone's recommending this thing Star. Okay, so who sells this in the UK then? SaneStar TPU. Oh, it's on Amazon. Oh, it is on Amazon by the look of it. Black flexible TPU. So are we talking this stuff here, guys? Is that what it looks like? Do I think there'll ever be a 4x4 which will have the low latency mode? Unknown. Possible, but we don't know. What Cadex are up to with all of this chip shortage and what's going on with this encryption. I would like to think it's possible, but I wouldn't like to say for sure. I'm not aware of anything. E3D Nodal X. Yeah, I have seen those 3D nozzles. So that's the stuff there, is it? Okay, so I need to add one of them to my basket. Okay, that's nice and easy. Job done, guys. And so what was someone saying print it in? Print at 205. So print at 205. And what did someone say? Someone said slow. Oh, there he is. Kevin. No. Where is it? Print it slow, 3mm a second, and it looks like PLA. Okay. Existing print's good every time. Cool. Because, yeah, this is the... Just to show you the bracket. I still use 123 Design for all of the brackets I designed. I run it to... recover... That's the bracket I designed there for it. So it's not, it's nothing special. It's actually got a bit of a fault in it, which I need to fix, which is this piece here. That needs to move up a lot higher. Here we go. That'll do. There we go. That actually fixes that problem. Actually, no, it doesn't. We go with that one. Ah, that's interesting. So I need to actually adjust that, block that there, because it's taking the whole side up, and I don't want it to do that. Okay, we'll have a look at that after. But yeah, that's the block I created there. Just to go on. See, I put the name on the bottom of it, Roma F5. So that's just the standard GPS mount. Print at 2. I printed 220s at 50. I get good prints with sound and G. Sorry, 2. Cool. Okay, so I'll order some of that today, and I'll make sure I get that in. Thank you, guys. I'll give that a shot. And I'll end up reprinting it again. Okay, guys. Let me just find the YouTube page, because I've lost it. Where is it hiding? Hello, YouTube. How am I going to mount the air unit antennas on my build? Now, that's already taken care of in the frame, because it has 2 notches for the antennas if you use the standard ones. So let me go to here. There are 2 notches in the frame, look, where the antennas go already to hold them in place. It's quite tidy, isn't it? But that puts them vertical. So let me just... Where are they? They will be here somewhere. I've had them. Where have they disappeared to? Here we go. Sorry, I couldn't find my 2 new antennas. So, in theory, the antennas go through there. And it gives it sticking out at the back. Or I might do some modification and put them on a slight angle. Can the antennas get dislodged into the props this way? Potentially, yes. So there does potentially need to be some work there. I wouldn't mind a V mount on the back, to be honest. A V would be nice. That's got to come up on there. Maybe cross the left and right and vice versa. That's an option. Yeah, crossing would be a good. So if you crossed it, they won't. You basically would be sorted then, wouldn't you? If you crossed them. So if I pop it back in, put it back on top, and then if you crossed it, yeah, look, there you go. Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? That's better. Yeah, probably meant to be crossed, actually. Could still pop down, but I think it'd be all right. I think that'll be okay. That's the plan on that one. Cost will also lower the height and potentially hide the antennas behind the battery if top mounted. Yes, that's the only downside. There is going to be a change on that too. Yeah, it's there's a bit to do on it, but yeah, the build's coming along nicely. The build's coming along quite nicely indeed. Zip tie them both. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Put a zip tie below it. I might put a zip tie or above, actually, probably better. Actually, probably the zip tie would be better on the cross point below the top of the frame. Probably the best point for it. That makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense. And then today I've been, as I said, today I've been flying with my backpack, which is my my main flight pack these days is my trusty old Rika biking backpack, because this backpack I've had for nearly 20 years and it just does everything I throw at it. And then obviously I was flying today with I got the Cadex micro camera back in there. Now this is my main longer range quad. Pretty much solved. This is the one, I've dropped this today 10-15 foot. We're starting to rip some of the foam off. That one there's been ripped off, but yeah, it's a good. I do need to get some TPU, because this is that's PETG, and I've broke that 3 or 4 times already. So I do need to print that in PETG as well. Sorry, TPU as well. That's going to be one of the jobs to do, as is the piece on the back of the other one. Just something I probably will mention, and for those who haven't seen, let me just go to Twitter, is just battery charging, guys. Always be careful battery charging. For those who don't know, Ken is a fantastic guy. For those of you who don't know him, he's original Dobo. Me and him share some abuse back and forth with each other on Twitter sometimes. He's a great YouTube channel, good guy. And he had a very scary incident a couple of days ago. And that's the image there. Yeah, there we go. He was charging, parallel charging some packs, and it went wrong. Very scary indeed. And he's a good guy, but he had the bat box, and now I'm ordering one of these today. I parallel charge all the time, Bruce. I was parallel charging today. In fact, there's 3 over there now. but in the corner. Scary as hell. Really is a scary incident. It really is. Now, to be fair, if you haven't seen this bat box, this looks quite interesting. Let me just go on YouTube and find this. Now, bat box lipo. Now, this box, is it this video I'm looking at? This gentleman here tests an ammo box, which does a decent job, and then he tests these bat boxes. Now, this bat safe is called. Now, I'm going to order one of these in the UK. To be honest, it's called bat safe. It's got some filters and holes in it. And I'm going to order one of these today myself. I am going to get one. And he did a test with it just to show you it working after setting the battery off. And whilst, look, not everything stayed inside, a hell of a lot did. And it is interesting to see the results of it. And what I have seen a couple of times is people who've tried these, is it does surprisingly contain the fire. This one here, this is the main test video here. So they show you what you get inside. You get some cables. And then here they do a test. Now, he does a... What pack was that? Nanotech 4S 5000 milliamp hour. Yeah, you do want the smoke to come out. You just want it to contain as much as possible, or stop the spread of flames as much as possible. You can see him go off. It vents the smoke. Does a good job of that. Yeah, you can't see what's going on. He then shows you the temperature externally. Now, what's interesting is it's locked up. It's cooled enough for him to open it, but it still rattles off. The second he lets more air in, it starts rattling off again. You can see that it's done a real good job of protecting. I'm not sure what the material is. It's some form of insulator. It clearly works, to be fair. He's putting a big one in this one. This is an interesting one. 6,000 milliamp hour. 16,000 milliamp hour. Now, this goes up quite spectacularly. And, again, it's not going to contain everything on a battery of this size, as you can see. That is quite a fire, isn't it? You know? So the box's location would be as important as anything else. Now, I can say, hand on heart, I had 2 Lipos go up this year, and I was very lucky I caught them. And I still don't fully understand why. That's a proper fire. That's a big battery, mind. That's a hell of a big battery, you know. And look, you know, if you imagine that was your room, it's gonna do some damage. So where you've got it located is as important as anything else. It really is as important, you know. 220 degrees. Now the box is completely destroyed. Avoid 60,000 milliamp hour Lipos. It's a big fire. That is a real big fire. But the box, Jesus, look at the heat on that. This is why I fly gliders and nitro. That's a very good point, Bruce. Just look at the temp on that battery. Look at that. It's a glowing brick. That's incredible. But yeah, you know, when you do see it, you know, let's just jump back to there again. Well, it kept it inside somewhat. Now, is it any better at that point than a ammo box? remains to be seen. Now I will show you what I've done actually, because I've done some changes. I had a close call this week. I'll just leave that on while I find what I'm looking for. I have done some changes this week on my lipo setup because I have had two issues, and I will talk about that now. Q file. I'm just going to transfer the file so I can show you guys what I've done this week. To be fair, it isn't rated. No, it's not rated for that. You know, that is the most extreme scenario. I think what that does show is that the box is capable of, I'm not going to say dealing with it. Dealing with it is a loose term. But it certainly handled it somewhat. You know, but it's a scary incident. It's a very, very scary incident. And, you know, if I jump back to Ken's, he was really lucky. He got it outside. He took it out and managed to make sure there was no other damage. He doesn't really know what the cause is. I had a good chat to him back and forth, and he's not 100% sure. Is it only the higher cells? Yeah, capacity goes a long way. But, you know, in here, I had 2 cells go up on charge this stroke last year. I heard one. I was sitting here doing some content, and I had one charging over there behind the camera, which you can't see. And I'm sitting here doing some stuff, and I just heard, and I'm thinking, that's a funny sound. It sounds like a can. That sounds like something letting out pressure. And then my brain clicked that I was charging a lipo, and I ran out, grabbed it, and took it outside. And I did show you guys that on the footage. I recorded a bit of it afterwards. I was, you know, here's the truth. I was charging my lipos on a wooden bench with lots of cables around it, all sorts of bloody stuff in the way, because I moved so much stuff around, and it just got tossed all over here. And it really wasn't good. It frankly was not good enough. So I'm just going to bring up now what I've done, and this isn't perfect by any means, guys. I'm just going to show you this. Let me just put this back up, and I'll show you what I've done. Some of this footage was from me yesterday. So this is the new charging area. Now, this is the beginning of the changes I'm making. This isn't the end of it. This is just the start. So what I've now... Ignore why the fire extinguisher is there in a minute. So this is my parallel charging area. It's on a metal unit with 3 concrete blocks. These are going to be doubled in height again. Okay, I've only had 3, so I need another 3. And then that will be moved out of the way. There is another fire extinguisher. Before someone says it, I've got to reach over the fire lipos to get to the fire extinguisher. Don't worry, there's another one down there that you guys can see. Yes, there is some packaging here and some foam here. This building is timber lined, so my intention is to create a sort of a bunker for this to go into. It's not perfect, but it is the start. And this is my my current charger, my changer. I've had this for years, this charger. It's done me very well with a Hobby King power supply. Nothing special, does a good job, although I'm hoping to get my hands on a new charger because I have reached out to that company, Bruce. But that's where I'm at today. But that's not the end. That's just the beginning. You know, this is a game of always trying to do... So you reach through the frames. Thank you, Bruce. Yes, yes, yeah. No, there is another one next to it. I just put that one there. Yeah, and it's that I know that sound well to Android. Yeah, it's that the worst part about it the first time is I'm sitting here going, it's a funny sound, you know, and I thought like a can of something. Sorry, I'm gonna wipe my face down again. I thought a can had something fallen over or something, and I was like, it's weird. And then that what felt like a minute, but it was probably about 1 second of realization kicked in that, oh shit, something's going on. I need to do something about it. And I just grabbed it off the charge, threw it outside. So once the chemistry starts, yeah, the two I had were both GNB batteries. They were the two that went up. Fire safety, what will fire video. So the bat box is something I'm going to order one. I am going to order one. I think it does a decent enough job. I've got a lipo. I keep all my lipos in an ammo box at the moment. That's where they all stay. The seal has been removed. If you ever use an ammo box, make sure you remove the seal. I had the same experience, but outside with my goggles on. Still here. I heard the hiss and thought, oh man, sneaking up on me. I've had issues. Yeah, that was 2 GNBs. That was 2 of those batteries went up on me. I'll never use. I still have 2, I think, for the bench. But I am going to get one. You know, they're not cheap. Lipo bat box. Yeah, they're like, I think the Bat Safe medium box is £44. It's not terrible money. I have got access to just to show you, there you go, guys. Sorry, in the UK it's about £44. Yeah, look, I have lipos everywhere in here, you know, and I have got to do better. You know, I had the weirdest thing with this Fire of Ken's is he had that in the afternoon or the morning US time, and I'd already moved my lipo charging area around in the morning. It's just a bit freaky how sent a tweet with let's have a look. Someone sent a tweet with his charging area on. You're as bad as me. You are as bad as me. See, we're going to shame him. We're going to shame him. Just remove the front seal and you can direct where the smoke goes. Or bore some holes in. Yeah. Honestly, guys, if I showed you my charging area before now, it would scare the life out of you. Wooden bench, flammable material all around it, cables everywhere, a push bike, there's a coat often thrown on it. It was literally a complete disaster waiting to happen. We all do it. When you've played with lipos as long as many of us have, you get complacent. You know, up here, here's the worst, right? Here, you know, they're bad. There's up there, let me just calculate. There's 100, 200, 300, 400, 600 watt hours of Inspire 2 packs, 4 DJI FPV batteries, 4 Mavic 2 batteries, 12 lithium ions for my cameras. That top shelf up there is like a disaster waiting to happen. It's just ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. Moves the isopropyl. Yeah, there's my tub next to me. It's down, not next to the batteries, though. I don't keep it next to the batteries. Yeah, I can see that happening, Steve. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and there has been, if you follow, let me see if I can find some pictures. I'm on a couple of Facebook groups, and there's a good one in the UK for the BMFA. Bruce is a fan. And there's been a few on here which have scared me. There's been a few on here, guys, that have just scared the life out of me. Here's another one. Let me show you this. Look at this one. This guy, charging a 6S lipo. Don't know if it was the charger or the battery went up. I'll put the pictures up now. Destroyed a pair of wings. Entire melted most of the devil. Didn't think it happened to me, but it did. And this is the problem, isn't it? Managed to pull the flames out of the garden hose. Just look at his workshop. You know, charger. We all think it's never going to happen to us, don't we? You know? Scary, scary stuff. It really is. I'm just trying to see. There was a few I saw on you which skid that. Here's another one. February this year. Just another one. Last week, friend's garage caught fire at 2 a.m. Garage is 10 foot from the house, but the blaze cracked some windows and melted the frame. Nothing was plugged in, but insurance suggested it might have been a LiPo battery that started the fire. You know, guys, it's not good. You know, we all get complacent, but we don't want to see this stuff, do we? We don't want it to happen to us. You know, so I'm going to take, I've decided, you know, I'm terrible. I got a LiPo there right now, which I've flown with today. I'm usually leaving LiPos all over this bloody building. Make sure the rats can't chew on them. Yeah, I think, you know, I've started putting a lot more effort back into making sure they're secure as they can be. That's all we can. That's all any of us can do, you know. If the cell goes nuts. Still have the scarf in it. Oh, that's a bad one. Drone 3 droid. Yeah, that's nice. You never multi-charge? No, that does take a lot of the risk out of it. You know, there is an interesting conversation here, and I know Bruce is reviewing this charger at the moment. I'm hoping to get my hands on one of these chargers. Have you sent me a picture of your ass on Twitter? Is that what you're telling me? Is someone sending me rude pictures of themselves on Twitter again? Let's have a look. Your charging setup. That's fairly nice. Look at that. Although I can see some soft finishing. And is this a wooden countertop? Share your death-defying charging areas. That's the new hashtag. Will it burn? Share on Twitter your death-defying charging areas. Hashtag. Will it burn? That's where we need to. That's where we need to go now. Will it burn? Will it burn? I like the server PSU. So we're going to rate his charging area now, okay? So, right, so looking at this, we have a nice wooden, what looks to be a wooden countertop, okay? Really impressed with that. You get 10 points for that one. The open-ended server power supply with all of the connectors available in view to be shorted, which is very nice. I do like the dual chargers, though. Real nice as well. Yeah, let's not upset him too much. You might want to delete that one. But will it blend? Will it burn? That's one cat away from a disaster. Yeah, look, we all do it. You know, there is a good argument here to be said. Are you better with 5, 6 or 7 separate LiPo chargers or a parallel charging board? Now, I think we all know what the safest way forward is. And, you know, what's the price of a reasonable hobby RC? A small, you know, a basic charger. Let's just have a look. Batteries and chargers. Just in the UK, I'm just thinking. You know, obviously the US will be different. But the problem is then you get 3 cheapo chargers and it gets interesting. Never a parallel mine, to be fair, potential desktop. I never parallel charge. No, I don't charge over 1C either. Well, I do in the sense of if I'm doing 4 packs, I'll you know, split it as 1C across the 4. But if we look, you know, in the UK, look, let's just chargers. So Nano, £24 each. Look, cheapest IDC charger today, new design, 8 amp max. It's 24 quid, isn't it? It's not bad, is it? You know, if you wanted to charge, Jonathan T unmanned tech, let's try unmanned. And I do use unmanned tech a lot as well. Toolkit. This is the one I'm hoping to get in. This charger. If I can't get one to review, I'm going to buy one anyway. I am buying one of these. Because that's a dual charger there as well. But if we do, you know, if we have a look at John parts, batteries, with chargers, you know, and the invoice, shall I put 4.15? How many of them, though, Bruce, go up at that point? Because I can tell you now, my 2 that went up were nowhere near at the end. They were almost, you know, within 15 minutes of going on. They were nowhere near at the end of the charge cycle. Okay, so if we didn't want to go parallel, look at that. Is that a toolkit to a 4-in-1? Is that a 4-in-1 there? Yeah. That's, you know, it's almost not worth thinking about, is it? But yeah, 4S. Yeah, no good for 6S, obviously. But that's a real... That's, you know, really, at the cost that is, you know, it's... You know, okay, let's look at 6S ones. Can't do... can we filter to 6S? No. Tool RC got a lot of chargers out right now. Let me just go to, if we price low to high, and then we'll filter for in stock only. That'll just help take out the stuff, so we can go down and then start looking down and going, okay. Okay, so we want 6. These are dual, 94 quid. Is that 6S? What's that one there then? So there's Toolkit RC, dual charger, 2 to 6S. There we go. Look at that. 59 quid. So 150 quid. You know, you could do 6 packs at a time, which is a good position to be in, isn't it? Let's be realistic. Unstock tech, lol. Yeah, they never have a lot. Yeah, everything's always out of stock at Unmanned. See, look at that. Double convenience, double the power. So for 150 quid, you're doing 6 at a time. It's not bad. You would need extension harnesses. Charge rating was 5S, temps regulator. I walk away at 5C. Wow, that's some power. It's, you know, I think we all cheap out on charging, but do you know what I mean? You know, that is a good position to be in. That was only 4S, wasn't it? Yeah, Yeah, 2 to 4S. That one was a shame. Or you could even... Oh, 2 to 4S. No, I'm trying to see if there's a small 6. You without a charger. Yeah, I'm just trying to see, interestingly, you know, is it almost better B6 V2s, Sky RC B6 Evos, something like this. What's this one? 2 to 4S. Mixing channels up. Yeah, so I'm just looking at singles. You know, so 6S. So that does 6S. 32 quid, single charger, job done. That if you wanted to be super safe, you just go with a few of them. And are quite tunable to meet your needs. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of options here with batteries. We really could, you know, we all should do a bit more. But yeah, you know, just be careful. As I said, Ken's one was scary. He's a good guy. He really is, and I'm just glad everything worked out okay on that one. I really am, because none of us would have wanted anything more. But I am going to order one of those bat boxes. To be fair, and Bruce has just made a very, very valid point. And I know he doesn't mean it intentionally. To be fair to DJI, these are extremely reliable and safe. I have yet to this day to see a single DJI pack actually go on fire. And I've helped on forums, I've been on groups, forums, Facebook. I've seen them all. Don't get me wrong, they'll puff, but the DJI Lipos never ever go on fire. So there is a price to be had for safety here. You know, we do argue about these being way too expensive, but can you put a price on safety? And I suppose you've got to weigh it up. You've really got to weigh it up. Okay. Why do Lipos not have a battery management board? It's a good point. It's a real good point. Why do Lipos not have more smarts in them? Yeah, the extra large is huge. I'm going to get the medium. Oh, yeah, Bruce shared this. For those who haven't seen it, is the M200 that was shot at. Bruce, it didn't go on fire by itself. It was shot at first, to be fair. So I think that, yes, okay, there has been a DJI Lipo battery fire. But it was shot down. Hell of a mess, though, isn't it? I still don't know why, and I've said this loads of times. Why isn't there a charging company that makes a charger with RFID tags that you can stick to the side of your battery and then use that to log which one it is? So it picks up when you plug it in and it's nearby it, it detects which battery it is and then logs all of the information permanently. Because the thing with the smart battery is, you know, if we look at these two, let's grab that one, let's grab that one. So we've got here a dumb 4S, which is my goggles battery. I like this one because it fits nicely in my pocket. So when it does go on fire, it'll burn my bum. But that is my favorite battery for using with that. And then we've also got this. Now, a nice midpoint would be, you know, either scan a barcode or do something to log beforehand what battery it is. I number all my batteries. So have I. I do number my packs. All my FPV packs are numbered. Although the numbering's coming off, I need to redo it. Plenty of people in a bid charging systems do that. A lot of RC heli guys do that because of the fortune in Lipos take extra good care of them. Yeah, you know, if anyone who's flown bigger, you know, look, guys, the batteries on that drone are £800 each in the UK, and it takes 2 of them. That is a DJI M300, which is their newest commercial industrial drone. The packs, it uses 2 batteries, and they are $800 or £800 each. So, you know, they are extremely expensive. Spectrum uses that technology, but only on batteries for RC cars and boats. Interesting, isn't it? So it's out there. So why aren't we seeing it? Innit? Why is it not migrating to the FPV industry? The FPV industry, we get, you know, we're not getting everything that's available out there. Why aren't we getting all of that? It's you know, we want more safety, especially when you see that stuff like Ken. You know, it does wake you up, and it's just a bit freaky for me because, as I said, I was already because of China, recently purchased 4 Lipos and charged them up with the MQ4 for the first time and overcharged 1 cell on 2 batteries. Now they're both undercharged. What's my best approach? You could manually drain them. If it's charged them badly, you could just check that it's not your measurement that's wrong. Make sure you're measuring right. Do it with a multimeter. Don't do one of those basic lipo chargers. Do use a basic multimeter. If you've got, you can buy a balancer which you can plug in and it will balance them. I've left one on now, funny enough. 1 second. This one was slightly out of balance earlier. I'll be intrigued to see how it's looking. So it's turned off. So I don't know if it's done its thing or not. Let's go to the overhead so you guys can see this. This is one of these smaller, cheap ones. So how's it looking? That's better. It was a bit further out than that earlier. So that's looking pretty good. But you can get something like this, which is you can get them little balancers and display. I've had this one a while now. Auto cell check and balancer. Good little device. There's much better ones than this out there now. Or if you're really keen, you could bleed the voltages down manually yourself. Cheap. Bruce did a good video on fast balance charging. I Renault balancers. Yeah, they're good, reliable. You just don't have to worry about them. You can just leave them there and it'll turn itself off. Good evening, Pete. How are you? So, guys, we've been going nearly 2 hours. So, hello to the 58 of you who are still here. I would like to thank you all for spending some time with me. And balance buds. Yeah, you would think, actually, Manimax, we'd have had a new connector by now, which did it all, wouldn't you? You would have thought there'd have been a new connector now. That just did it all. Bruce uses scales to balance his batteries. Big set of old ones with 2 big iron weights. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it an evening. I would like to thank you all for spending some time with me tonight. I hope we've been able to answer some questions. I'd like to thank for the super chat. It was really, really appreciated. I can't find it now. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? It's hiding from me. Where's the super chat? I want to thank him again. Oh, I've lost it. I've lost it. Viewer activity. No new super chats. Why is it? It's not showing me the super chats. The super chat's disappeared. Why is the super chat disappeared? Guys, I'd like to wish you all a safe week ahead. It's not weekend. Weekend's over. I'd like to wish you all a safe week ahead. Please give us a like. Please give us a share. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We'll be live again next Sunday night. Look after yourselves, and I will speak to you guys again soon. Oh, check out the channel in the week. There's some good videos coming. There is some good videos coming. I'd rather watch this stream or have my teeth extracted with house sedative. Thank you, Bruce. I do appreciate that. Look after yourselves, guys. I'll speak to you again soon. Hit the button 1, and bye-bye.